Today I'm going to show you how to make black pepper cookies. This type of cookie has been invented like many centuries ago, and it's quite popular in capital of Croatia. It's eaten mostly around the Christmas time and also the time before Lent. It's what we call it back. It's like carnival season before the Lent starts. It's very spicy, and you might think it's black pepper, but and you're wondering like what kind of cookie would that be? But actually has a lots of depth into the cookie because we have all these different spices, sweet and sour, and obviously pepper in there. So it's very tasty, I gotta tell you. So it's almost like tastes like a gingerbread cookies. So the difference in here is that we use black pepper, and we also use the pork fat or the lard. Because it's an old-fashioned recipe where they were not making stuff with the butter, they were using lard. So those are two different things in here, but so cinnamon, ginger, cloves, cardamom, those are all the spices that we use here. Nutmeg as well, honey. So yeah, it's very, very tasty, but very unique. I think the origin comes from the north, from the Germany and Austria. So this is from the times when Croatia was under Austro-Hungarian Empire. So these kind of cookies were used at the time. And what they're also unique, it's like they come in the like a nice shapes or patterns that are used on these cookies. So you mix all these ingredients that we just mentioned, and we'll come up with a nice dough that will actually become quite dark from all the spices that we use. And then you're gonna have this dough sit in the fridge for a couple of hours, just so all the ingredients can combine nicely. And because we have a lard, so you want it to thicken up, because otherwise it will be melting quite a bit. So yeah, and once it's all nicely mixed, then we'll roll it and then create the different shapes, whichever one you can make. This is almost like making kids cookies. Is just because the only difference is that like they should have some shape on the top. So most of those shapes, and back in the times, they were made out of the wooden pieces. So traditional would be the leaves, the flower, or something like that. It's just so it would be nice and pretty. So you roll it in the dough, not too thin, like maybe size of the finger or a little bit less. So that would be like half an inch or a little bit less. You don't want them too thin, but you also don't want it too thick, because remember, this is a very tasteful, very unique taste for the cookies. So you will want to eat it slowly, and you really want it to melt in your mouth so you can taste all these spices that are in there, and also you want to be able to taste the pepper. So you got to eat it slowly and delicately. So the shape of the cookie should be very, very small, as well as unique eat the cookie on its own, it is. And then bake them in an oven on this baking sheet until they start get a nice golden color on the sides, and obviously like from the bottom, but you don't want them to be too dark because then they will be burnt. So on a low temperature, let them dry them up. And also the unique part here is there was no baking powder or baking soda added. It's really just the spices, flour, lard, and the sugar in here. So because it's lard, and like I mentioned before, if you keep it outside too long, it will become too greasy. So you don't want it work with it too greasy dough either. So that's why we keep it in the fridge. And this is how they look like. I have this little flower shaped molds, but if you can get a hold of anything else, you can use them like round like this, or they can also be in the squares or rectangular shapes, whichever one you can get it. That would be great.